I'm Jean-Bernard Caron, Curator of Invertebrate Paleontology at the Royal Ontario Museum. I'm really excited to present some fossils that were at the basis of a new study just published in the journal Nature called A Primitive Fish from the Cambrian of North America. And the fossils that we describe bear some very important features that really are the roots of our own group. These features include the maotoms, a series of muscle bands that are along the body, and also a feature called the notochord, which will eventually evolve into the vertebrae, as you can see on these animals here. There is also another feature preserved in these fossils that is thought to be ancestral to what you see in front of these animals, the jaws. So let's have a look at these fossils. Here is a sample of fossils that come from British Columbia, and most of the important fossils for our study come from a new fossil deposit discovered in 2012 by a ROM expedition in Kootenay National Park. Here are some of the specimens that we selected, and so let me show you this one, for example, that we extracted in the field using hammer and chisels. And as you can see, there's two parts, and there are parts of the animal on both sides. Here's the anterior part, and here's the posterior part. So in order to study this animal, we need to have both parts. So we use a stereo microscope here to see some of the features. Those are the remnants of muscle bands. On the other side of the fossil, you see the head section, which is beautifully preserved and shows the eyes of the animal. This is something we didn't know before. The most important fossil, perhaps, that we discovered is only fragmentary, and it's quite small, but let me show you. This is a fossil that preserves the anterior section very well and shows the eyes again, but this time you see the outline of the head. The head is a bit globulous, it's sort of bilobed, and this is the posterior part of the animal. What you see here are muscle bands, those dark elements. There's also the remnants of a feature called the notochord. The other features that is really of importance in these specimens are a series of bars which are just behind the head, and these bars that I'm going to underline here, the first two pairs will eventually evolve into the jaws in modern vertebrates. Jaws have evolved into various shapes and morphologies, as you can see here. And this animal really tells us that at the time of the Cambrian, jaws had not evolved yet, but there were structures that were already in place that will eventually become the jaws later in evolution. We decided to reconstruct this animal because we had a lot of new information, and now we could do an accurate reconstruction of what Metaspriggina might have looked like. Now here is the animation that we commissioned, and you can see that this is an animal that will have been probably an effective swimmer, and it will have probably fed at the bottom of the sea. The mouth is quite anterior here. The pair of eyes will have allowed the animal to see potential predators, and small nasal capsules will have allowed the animal to smell its environment. So really, this is an outstanding fossil and tells us much more about what we might have looked like at the time of the Cambrian.